So picking up where we left off in the last session, we've got a bunch of trees with codes copied around that we're ready to report on. So with data extraction, you can do a couple different things. The main thing, too, that you're going to work with is extracting this directly to a table that stays in AutoCAD, but you can also have that table then write out to an Excel file if you want to manage your plant list in an Excel file. Add in common names with your botanical names, and more detailed information like sizes and notes and things like that. But for our purposes, we're just going to create a table that gives us our counts, and they're going to be grouped by the code that we've assigned. So this is buried somewhere within the menus, in the ribbons, that is. I happen to know that it's in the Tools menu pull down. So I'm going to go to Tools, Data Extraction. One thing that's a little bit confusing sometimes, as I have to save my file first. So let's just save this to the desktop. That's a little bit confusing is you actually have to save a template file. This is going to create a template for this extraction. The reason it does this is if there's other files in the project that you're working on that also have plant schedules, it allows you to refer back to the same template definition to come back to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new, click Next. It's asking me to store this file. This is the file that we would call up later on if there's another page in the project or a sheet in the project that requires a schedule. Alright, so the only drawings we're going to worry about for this schedule is the one that we currently have open, but theoretically you could have 10 drawings in a sheet and you could have these all report back to one plant schedule on a later sheet. So I'm going to say Next. It scans the drawing. So what are we looking for? Well, I know that we made it in an attribute definition, but really what we're concerned with is the tree with code block. So I'm going to uncheck these two. You actually, right out of the gate, if it's a really complex drawing, you can uncheck Display All and only show the blocks, which is what we're going to report on. I'm going to say Next. We're not concerned with anything except for attribute. The one thing that can be valuable is geometry, is that if you correlate your block scales with their size on the schedule, you can actually have it generate the scale in the table as well to give your tree size. But for this, we're just going to worry about the attribute. Say Next. So I've got a count, tree with code, and let me back up a second. With the different categories, you can determine what value is going to be displayed and what's not. So I have the code, count, the block name. I don't need the block name. So if I right click on this, I can come down here and uncheck show name. So I just have my count, tree code. I think I want the tree code first, so let's drag this to the left, sort it alphabetically. Combine identical, you want this, otherwise you're going to have one for all of them. This is going to group all your similar codes together. It's going to show the count. Again, I could have also unchecked the name column down here. I can say Next. So this case, I want to insert it into the drawing. I could also extract it to an Excel file, or I can do both. So let's just do this so you can see it, but I'm not going to actually do anything with that Excel file afterwards. So I'm going to say Next. Default style, which we just set up, or we set up in the previous video. Say Next. Finish. And it's going to ask me where I want to put my table. So it's a small table at this point. But if I zoom in on it, you can see I have my tree code, count. So AR, BN, LS is all there. And actually, it will continue to update this as I make changes. So if this one then becomes a BN, I come in here, highlight the table. I can now right click. I have the option for Update Table Data Links, and you'll notice my counts are adjusted. So I also could insert a new tree with code. Let's say this is QA. Come back to my table, right click, oops, highlight the table, right click, and under data extraction, update data, and I get my additional row. So that's data extraction.